Subscribe, like, and leave a message. The Heart, Balm Racket, a scandalous chapter in American love and law. Hey folks, picture this. It's the Roaring '20s, and love's supposed to be all jazz and bootleg kisses, but lurking in the shadows? A bunch of gold-digging schemers turning broken hearts into fat paychecks. Welcome to the wild world of the heartbalm racket, those old-school lawsuits where jilted lovers sued for breach of promise to marry, alienation of affections, or criminal conversation. Yeah, you heard that right, criminal conversation. It sounds like a soap opera plot, but it was real law, and it wrecked lives, filled courtrooms with drama, and eventually got the boot from lawmakers fed up with the blackmail vibes. Today, we're diving deep into how this racket started, exploded, and crashed, packed with the gritty facts, jaw-dropping cases, and numbers that show just how bonkers American romance law got. Buckle up, this tale's got more twists than a tabloid headline. Let's rewind to the roots. Heartbalm suits trace back to English common law in the 1700s, when marriage was less about fireworks and more about property deals. Women, especially, got the short-end dads could sue a guy for seducing their daughter, treating her honor like a family asset worth cold cash. By the time it hopped the pond to the US, it evolved into four main torts: breach of promise to marry, suing for backing out of an engagement; alienation of affections, blaming a third party for stealing your spouse's love; criminal conversation, suing the affair partner for, well, conversing criminally in the marital bed; and seduction. Early on, these weren't rackets, they were lifelines. In an era without welfare or no-fault divorce, a jilted bride could claim damages for lost wedding costs, tarnished reputation, and emotional scars. Courts awarded real money. By the 1800s, verdicts hit thousands, which back then was like dropping a house down payment. Fast forward to the Gilded Age, and things heat up. Industrialization meant more folks mingling across classes, and tabloids ate up the scandals. Take the infamous 1886 case of Pierce v. Burns in Massachusetts. A 19-year-old seamstress sued her ex-fiancé, a wealthy merchant, for $20,000 after he dumped her for another. She won $15,000, equivalent to about $450,000 today when you crunch the inflation numbers. Juries love the underdog story, poor girl versus rich cad. But here's where the rot sets in. By the 1910s, lawyers spotted the grift potential. Shady attorneys started coaching clients, often women, to fake engagements, extract rings or promises, then sue when it fell apart. Blackmail letters flew, pay up or face court. One 1912 New York Times expose tallied over 500 such suits filed annually in Manhattan alone, with settlements averaging $5,000 to $10,000. That's $150,000 to $300,000 in modern bucks. Figures from legal historian Richard Posner pegged the nationwide total at around 2,000 cases a year by World War I, many hushed up pre-trial to dodge the scandal. Enter the Jazz Age, and the racket goes full throttle. Hollywood glitz and flapper freedom? Nah, more like a breeding ground for opportunists. Women, hit hard by the era's double standards, weaponized these laws. Stats from a 1925 American Bar Association report show heartbalm claims surged 300% from 1910 levels, with New York courts logging 1,200 filings in 1924 alone. Awards ballooned. Two juries, swayed by sob stories, handed out six-figure sums. Remember the 1922 Potato Queen scandal? Evelyn Nesbit, the original supermodel and murder muse, sued her ex, millionaire Harry Thaw's estate, for $100,000 in alienation claims tied to their twisted love triangle. She settled for $50,000. Or the 1931 blockbuster, Peggy Hopkins Joyce, the serial bride with 9 husbands, raked in over $1 million, about $20 million today, from breach suits against tycoons like a steel heir and a banker. Joyce bragged in her memoir about playing the game. "I never lost a case, darling." But men got burned too by 1920. 40% of suits targeted female defendants, per a Chicago Law Review study, flipping the script on who was the seducer. The tipping point? High-profile abuses that screamed racket louder than a speakeasy raid. In 1934, the Chicago Tribune blew the lid off with a series called Gold Diggers, exposing how pros like attorney Nat Zelnick orchestrated 50-plus suits a year, coaching starlets to trap marks with fake romances. One doozy, a chorus girl sued a doctor for $250,000 after a 2-week engagement, claiming he'd promised the moon. Jury gave her $75,000. Nationwide, a 1935 survey by the Journal of the American Institute of Criminal Law tallied $10 million in annual payouts, roughly $220 million adjusted for inflation, much of it funneled to ambulance-chasing lawyers taking 50% cuts. Public outrage boiled over. Newspapers dubbed it the Balm Racket, painting women as predatory vixens. Cosmopolitan ran a 1935 piece, Is Love for Sale? It quoted a judge calling 80% of cases extortionate frauds. Stats backed the fury. In Illinois, 70% of 1934 breach suits settled out of court, per state records, smelling like hush money. Politicians smelled blood or votes. Reform swept in like Prohibition's repeal. New York led the charge in 1935 with the Hart Bill, sponsored by Assemblyman James J. Hart, abolishing breach of promise and alienation suits outright. Governor Herbert Lehman signed it amid cheers, citing the racket's threat to honest courtship. The law banned all heartbalm actions, calling them obsolete relics that mocked marriage. By year's end, 12 states followed. Illinois axed them via the Anti-Heartbalm Act, zapping 400 annual cases. Pennsylvania's 1937 statute wiped criminal conversation, slashing filings by 90% overnight. Nationally, the American Law Institute's 1936 Model Code urged abolition, arguing these torts treated love like chattel property. By 1940, 22 states had ditched them, per a Fordham Law Review tally, dropping U.S. heartbalm verdicts from 1,500 a year to under 200. Hawaii and D.C. held out till the 60s. But hold up, not everywhere buried the hatchet. 6 states clung on: North Carolina, Mississippi, Hawaii, New Mexico, South Dakota, and Utah. Illinois briefly revived alienation in 2017, but that's another story. In the holdouts, the racket lingers like a bad ex. North Carolina sees about 200 alienation suits yearly, per a 2016 Duke Law study, double the divorce rate in some counties. Big wins? A 2009 case netted a woman $9 million against her hubby's mistress, later cut to $5 million on appeal. Mississippi's criminal conversation claims average $50 a year, with a 2018 verdict hitting $500,000 for loss of consortium. Figures from the National Conference of State Legislatures show these suits disproportionately hit the South, where conservative values clash with modern mores. Critics slam them as sexist relics, 90% filed by wives against other women, per a 2020 SSRN paper-fueling/Me Too era pushes to kill them off. Yet defenders argue they deter affairs. One Utah judge in 2015 called it the only civil remedy for adultery's wreckage. So, what's the racket's legacy? It exposed how law lags love, turning heartbreak into a commodity until society said enough. Pre-reform, these suits enforced old norms, punishing loose women while letting men skate. Post-1935, they cleared space for no-fault divorce waves in the 70s, letting folks split without the blame game. Fun fact, Hollywood even riffed on it. Think 1935's The Girl Who Broke the Law, a flick mocking gold diggers. Today, with apps swiping right on romance, heartbalm feels prehistoric. But those holdout states remind us, in the court of public opinion, love's still a battlefield. Next time you ghost someone, thank the reformers you can't get sued for it. Who? That's the saga, equal parts romance novel and legal thriller. Subscribe, like, and leave a comment.